to the Quake World Championships powered by AMD. Of course, we're getting ready to jump into our next matchup here in the round of 16. It is going to be xron going up against Astroboy, the only Australian player that's managed to make it this far into the tournament.
Absolutely. I mean, we've had a really strong showing from Australia in general. A lot of effort being put forward. Of course, playing from Australia is always difficult online. You're guaranteed to have the highest pings in the world with anybody that you really want to compete with. So LAN parties like QuakeCon are some of the only venues where you can actually kind of bring your A game and kind of show what your entire country's made of. And so we've had plenty of like Quake World players and UT players and now Quake Champions players coming in, showing up, and throwing down. But it is down to Astroboy. I'm sure he's going to have everybody back home cheering for him. And actually, I think everybody back home is actually out in the audience as well. So I think it's going to get loud out there as we have Astroboy ready to go up against xron, or xron, rather. We do have some fantastic photos here. Man, I haven't seen this guy in a while. This is actually Dan the King, who made it here to QuakeCon several years ago and made a huge tremor in the scene by taking a map off of Dahang, which is no small feat indeed. Over on the other side, we got xron from Ukraine.
So you seem to be a little bit more familiar with this guy. And he had quite a bit of a story. You can see it there at the bottom right. He managed to qualify at the NA Regionals while playing from Australia. So he had to qualify with, easily 200 plus ping against one of the guys that was actually playing from the venue itself. It was a pretty big upset actually at the time. So quite a few of us were surprised when that happened, as the player from North America that was going up against him it seemed like he had pretty good control. But then right towards the end of the series, Astroboy bounced back and had this incredible comeback to be able to make it here and qualify. But anyway, despite 4 other Australians making it into the groups here for the dual tournament coming out of the BYOC, he's the only one that's made it past the groups down here into the round of 16. So he's managed to persevere, qualifying through regionals and making it out of the groups as well. All the other guys that came from the BYOC got knocked out already.
And of course, xron, all these matches have been really close in the groups and both the early rounds here. We've seen so many high-profile matches come down to like 5 seconds of difference between somebody moving forward and somebody walking home. So I'm expecting some sparks to fly here.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do have the maps ready, I believe, so we can take a look at those and see what these players have selected to take it to. Remember, the map's very, very different at Quake Champions when you look at it. So xron's going to start us off on Blood Covenant. After that, we will jump over to the Corrupted Keep for Astroboy. Not really surprising there. He plays a pretty aggressive playstyle, if I'm remembering correctly. And then the agreed choice between those 2 players is their third and final map. We're going to head over to the Ruins for that one, if we need to play that third map, of course.
Sounds good, but having that Blood Covenant coming out first, I mean, you can try to go aggressive on that, and you really have to know your opportunities. You need to know your moments. It can be very difficult to create those things, so we're going to have to see how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. And we should be getting started in just a few moments. The players backstage now getting themselves ready and getting themselves set up. And I believe this is the last match here, guys, for the second stream as well, as we're just trying to get these last few players in the quarterfinals. From this point forward, after this, I believe all the matches are going to be switched over and they'll be featured on the main stream following this match.
And of course, playing here from QuakeCon, you just have to play match after match after match, either if you're in Sacrifice or in Duel, getting out of groups, getting into round of 16. It is this brutal. And if you're not playing a match, you are, keeping an eye over your opponent's shoulders and your groups and your potential matchups for who you're going to be playing next and kind of figuring out where things are going to be sitting. I do love that xron is playing with that Shambler head on his Ranger, as well as the AMD Nyx. Cool stuff.
Yeah, so we have the picks coming out pretty similar so far, with both Ranger and Nyx showing up. It's just up to xron as he's going to go with the Sorlag. Not a big surprise there. We've seen quite a bit of Sorlag play, and it's usually the initial pick too, so expect him to go to that champion first to start off on each map there.
And of course, Ranger is strong in just about any map, really. That Dire Orb can turn into that one-hit kill, which for some players is what they craft their entire style around, so we're going to have to see how that plays out. But again, Blood Covenant has a lot of history to it. I think you have a bit of an advantage if you're coming from Quake Live, if you're coming from Quake 3. You've got so much familiarity on how that map is played and how it can be played. Of course, the champions do add a whole nother layer to that, which is where we have the opportunity for new blood. I mean, xron is like 21, which
in Quake terms,
it's really young. Yeah.
If you're like a CS watcher or something like that, that's like, oh, he's old, he's done in like 2 years. But for Quake, apparently, he's still got a good like 10, 15 years left on him, apparently.
Well, we'll see. I mean, the results of this tournament might have an impact on that. And again, it's really cool seeing Astroboy, a.k.a. Dan the King, back here at QuakeCon. It's been a very long time. I'm going to need to make sure to give him a good handshake no matter what else happens here.
All right, guys. Well, it looks like we do have the match pretty much ready to go here, so let's jump into it as round 1 has begun here. Once again, it's Astroboy, a.k.a. Dan the King, going up against xron. Winner of this best of 3 moves on into the round of 8.
We've got astroboy taking away LG and Mega right off the bat with a quick switch over to rocket launcher. He's going to see that railgun is already taken by xron. It's not going to be really trapped though. I mean, astroboy is going to be able to get a grab and not lose a lot of opportunity for some of these other fights. Is he going to hear the Sorlag around the corner though? Oh, he's going to get hurt first in one rocket, and a little bit of spit goes a long way against an Anarchy, and that's going to be about as clean of a first frag as we can expect.
There's that Sorlag power showing up right again, right from the start of the map, too. Just dives right in, gets that spit kill, and after that, xron's off to a hot start already. He's already got the kill, and he should be able to get the spit back off pretty quickly, too. Just, you know, one or two of the triple health bubble, or the timer pickup runs there, and he should be good to go, restoring that cooldown pretty quickly. xron, a little bit of trouble getting the initiation going on this Nyx, but that 57 damage rocket was almost good, and he almost dies there, too, getting pushed back by the LG. So barely survives with 24 HP. That Mega Health's not coming up anytime soon, so we have to look for other options to get his HP back up to a better amount.
It's like Astroboy forgot he was Nyx for a second. His aggression was absolutely brutal. I don't think xron was really expecting it either, but xron's still railable, especially risky coming up the jump pad. He kind of ducks in, trying to keep his airtime minimal. He's down to 44 health though, still looking for that Mega. His timing was certainly knocked off and it cost him. So even now, Astroboy is able to go get a bunch of other health. He's able to get heavy armor, and he's now looking for him coming into the bridge area. That one rocket might have given his position away and given xron cause to pause here. He's going to be slowing things down a little bit before heading back over towards pillars, but again, there's not a whole lot of action coming out of pillars just at the moment. I mean, Mega's still coming up in 8 seconds, but Astroboy's going, hey, he's stuck around here for a long time before. Maybe he'll do it again. These rockets barely missing xron as he decides to leave it up.
xron's going to fall back here, give his opponent a little bit more room to breathe as he can recover himself. As Astroboy's going to look for a few pickups. He does get himself the Mega Health. Ooh, xron taking that self-damage to try and rocket jump back up to the top of the bridge and then missing it. That's a bit unfortunate. Thankfully, he recovers health pretty quickly. It looks like about like 20 damage or so.
Yeah, so he's going a bit more quiet here. I mean, he's showing a lot of respect to Astroboy's Nyx. His ability to throw out some rockets and LG, definitely scary, and he wants to make sure he's getting these first hits. He's still looking for an opportunity here on pillars, and he goes for the rail, but gliding through the air, he's kind of making himself an easy target there, as Ron's now looking for the punishment on the jump pad, but he jumps over the pillars maybe a little bit too soon, as Ron's going to be having to exit the Mega Health. Not too much better for the wear, and actually hasn't done much damage against Astroboy either. Oh, but that rail will certainly turn the tables, as he can now maybe go on the chase and maybe force Astroboy to use that Ghost Walk.
Sneaky peeky from xron as he gets off that nice shot on the Astroboy, sending him back, bringing him down to his base HP. We do have the Mega Health coming up in approximately 10 seconds here, so xron's going to try to chase that down. Almost going to be tagged by the rails. He jumps back out, but now jumping through the portal. Thought his opponent was going to be further back there, so Astroboy does have to go for the emergency pop of the stealth. That will open up an opportunity for xron to fall back, get that pickup, but even before he goes to the Mega Health, he's just going to take down Astroboy anyway, bringing it down to just one last champion over to the Ranger now. And I'm excited to see some Ranger play, as we were lacking that in the 2 matches we casted earlier back on the mainstream.
Absolutely, so it's going to be, yeah, like you said, down to that Ranger, down to his ability to use that Dire effectively. That could go a very long way against xron's Sorlag here. And yeah, against a stack like that, that Dire Orb is sometimes your best bet. Well, he's going to be betting on a Railgun right now. Going to be kind of loud about it, but xron's not really going for the punishment just yet. We got Astroboy looking for these rockets. Just coming around the corner, a beautiful 98 damage. That's a good way to open things up and a good way to get his first frag on the board. Finally, he's got just about a minute and a half to get at least one more frag on xron's Nyx. He's going to have to see if he can do it.
Beautiful combo from Astroboy there. Bounces his opponent right up in the air and then closes out on him. So finally, he's going to have a good kill going for himself. Gets him off that Sorlag. And as you mentioned, over to the Nyx here now to try and fight this out. He'll be taking the low route here, Astroboy. He is going to be looking to try and lock down xron. He's not able to find him just yet. I think you heard him hopping around up on top there, though, so he knows where he is now. It's all about just finding the right position to initiate. He does have the Mega Health advantage. He's a rail now too. Oh, he tried to go for that. It's a little bit off the mark. You can see he did some damage with it.
You can see him thinking, am I going to go for the nice, clean, consistent opportunity that I have here, or am I going to go for the frag video? Well, I cannot blame him for trying. You got 17 damage out of it, but it was so tasty. I mean, he didn't even switch to rail.
Well, here's the problem is that could have been a very quick free rail shot, especially after his opponent jumped up in the air there. It was a pretty easy trace. The problem is he tried to go for that style kill, but look at how much time he has. He only has 40 seconds now to actually get this kill. So he has to hope that he can make up for that missed Dire Orb kill and actually still take down his opponent, bring this back down to a 1v1 and take it into OT to settle this.
It's hard knowing that any trap that you got on your opponent is really just giving you the Ghost Walk burned off with that Nyx, but I mean, that should have done it there. Actually, yeah, the Ghost Walk has been used, but there's now 40 seconds, which is way less than Astroboy has to commit to this fight to find xron and rail him down. But xron's going to be down by the heavy armor. Of course, the armor's not going to be up, but Astroboy does not know where he is, and might be running out of time here to make this happen.
Astroboy going to jump back up there. Only ends up falling down a little bit further, though, after getting the pickup that he was looking for, and ultimately the timer will expire. xron taking control over round number 1 as he does win it with a 1 champion advantage at the timer.
A pretty solid one there, and of course, as Ranger, you need to be able to use your Dire Orb not only to get those free, well, not free, but quick kills, but also to traverse the map and create those trapping opportunities. So he's going to be going for a rocket launcher to rail. Very nicely done. It looks smooth, it looks easy, but the timing on that and the angles is a little bit rough. So right off the spawn, be able to get both rockets and rails certainly does help out. There's LG to kind of cap things off, as we still have Xron at top of the pillars. Astroboy coming out of the out of the gate there. We actually saw a little bit of a tail from that Sorlag, but nowhere near enough to turn into a real fight.
Astroboy getting tagged a little bit, but now his opponent jumped back down, trying to go for the Dire Orb damage again. Only got 15 off of it though, but the rocket bouncing. The rocket work in general from Astroboy is phenomenal, pushing the Sorlag into a corner, and they end up trading 1 for 1 to start off the second round.
But you know, killing a Sorlag, I would certainly make that a worthwhile play. Yeah, being able to spawn near all of the enemy weapons and the weapon that you dropped as well certainly does help out. Really nice, really fancy play with the nail gun, but who needs fancy play when you have an LG? That's going to be Astroboy down to just 20 health, but having taken that Ghost Walk first, the advantage is Xron's right now, as he's looking for that last damage. But there's a beautiful clutch rail just fading away, looking for the shot. Found it right between the eyes, and that's going to be down to Xron's Ranger.
No hesitation at all in that rail shot, so Astroboy really getting into the thick of things here now. He got lucky on his spawn, he managed to get that respawn right next to these weapons too, so he's denying Xron of every attempt he makes to try and get a stack build up, and this is helping him out so much right now in this round here.
Well, we've got Xron actually trapped down here by the pillars. I mean, there's a lot of damage that you can do from there, but if you're not making the hits, it's not going to count. And there's the last little bit of LG tickle there to make this one-on-one.
Quick trade taking it to the 1-1 here now as Astroboy takes very fast control. Xron playing a much slower game in the last round there and ultimately winning it out through the timer. We get a complete reversal, and now it's Astroboy that just kicks it into overdrive and takes quick control here to go 1-1. We'll jump quickly into the third round, see which of these two players are going to be able to get up to map point first.
We're going to have to see if Astroboy has any fuel left to make this another hyper-aggressive one, but Astroboy actually dropping down to LG, and there it is! The Dire Orb. Take a shot like Astroboy certainly did, and it worked out well for him. I mean, again, being able to take out a Sorlag is such a great brick to take out of that wall.
Took like 3 tries, but he finally made it happen.
Persistence for sure. But we've got a little bit of rocket spam coming out of Astroboy, looking for some early damage against that Nyx. There's the Dire Orb to make her think twice. But that should be a rail grab for Xron now. I mean, he's kind of low himself. He's open to a rail that Astroboy doesn't even have right now. So if he wants to make this a fight, he's going to have to dive down. But those nails are doing just enough damage to make Astroboy turn around.
Taking quite a bit of those nails, actually, so I had to go back. He's now in 0 armor. He can... Oh, he's bad about that. You can see a little wiggle there, yeah. Ended up bouncing himself up in the air, basically.
At least he's a Ranger. It doesn't do as much damage to him. That's nice, but that could have been really good damage against Ron. Certainly would have forced the Ghost Walk there. But we've got Mega up and Armor up in 3 seconds. That's going to be really useful for that Nyx to pick up, even if it might not last that long, if Astroboy is able to come back into mid as Xron is trying to cross. He's actually kind of prioritizing the staircase there, kind of taking it slow, making sure that, all right, I've got an armor. I know Mega's not up. I have all the weapons I need. I don't need to be anywhere. I just need to make sure I'm staying safe.
He's got the +1 advantage too, so he's that to play with. He can play really slowly and try to elongate this if possible. Just kind of do little bits of damage to keep Xron off of him, essentially, and just delay this for as long as possible. Now he's going to jump up, push Xron out of the pillar room. Oh, he ate quite a bit of LG damage, though, going back there, but still has that extra health coming out from the Mega. He's going to try to rocket jump over here. That first rocket jump kind of whiffed, though. He didn't get much speed out of that as he was looking for. The second one was better on the follow-up, but hit himself again with that one, so forced to fall back. He's lost all of his armor now, gets that one mini on the pickup as he tries to run over here to the pillar room, where he's going to end up jumping into Xron. Doesn't realize that Xron's actually down here, though, and very, very low. However, Xron returns that damage, and right before he ports away, Xron hits a clutch rail shot, takes him down, and now we're even again, 2v2.
So risky to whip out that rail as you're going for the jump pad. I mean, that was really ballsy, but it worked out well for him. I mean, he had Astroboy down to just that 30 health, and that's all it took there. But Xron eating a rail as well. He's going to need this armor just to stay alive and stay in the fight there. It's now Nyx v Nyx with just about half this match over, and yeah, just the one frag either way. So Xron mid-map throwing down a little bit of spam, not quite realizing that Astroboy's gone through teleporter instead and crossed over to bridge. Looked away just long enough for Astroboy to, or rather, Astroboy to run away. We've got Mega taken away here as we've, oh, there's the double Ghost Walk, but there's the LG, so dangerous. both of them in the danger zone, but it's going to be Astroboy getting the frag, forcing xron down to his ranger once again.
Astroboy definitely getting the better out of xron in that LG fight too. xron's having a lot of trouble keeping the trace going, so he takes him out there, and now xron goes down once more here. It's Astroboy leading the charge. Still in that Nexus, is still very squishy, but the dire report, Astroboy's going to dodge under the way of that one. Still very low. He needs to find a way to get out of this room. He can survive for 5 more seconds. He's going to have his stealth come back up. He has his bubbles there too that he can go and just pick up and have it instantly, but actually he just chases down the last kill anyway. xron fortunately didn't have any weapons at all, it seemed, for that last fight. Tried to dive in way too early and whiffs big time.
Yeah, I think he's going to be looking at that dire orb later and kind of shaking his head. I mean, Astroboy wasn't really moving around on the platform at that point, but it was just a little bit off, and that would have gone so far to his advantage. But here we go. We've got Sorlag v Ranger once again over on Astroboy's side of things. We've got armor picked up as well as LG, making sure he's got that Mega and a quick dire orb to cross to, well, get heavy machine gun. I'm sure that was intentional, as well as a rocket launcher.
He'll be hiding out over here now by the double bubble on top of the bridge too, just to see if he can wait this one out a little bit and see if xron's going to push on it. But he does, but xron catches it when he peeks back out, returns some of that damage. xron's going to steal his bubble up on top. He's got a few for himself, but the follow-up on the LG was way too good from Astroboy. And again, he starts it off with the first kill, and actually almost, you can see that rocket right there. It almost hits xron right on fresh spawn too.
It was really nicely done, and Astroboy kind of sticking in it with just a little bit of health left over. Oh, gotta go for the rocket jump for the railgun. Worth it though. But it looked like xron, as that Sorlag, he wanted to get a close up and personal to use the spit, to use that LG, but the distance was just favoring Astroboy enough. That'll turn it back around though, as we have xron's Nyx getting out of there with only 25 health. It's still going to be a while before any of the major items come up, so down here at this armor, it could be really dangerous. Yeah, here comes Astroboy with his LG. Could it be xron's rockets to save his life? Not so much. He even tries to go into the pool of blood to get the health, but it's not going to work out for him.
Astroboy is so aggressive with the way he plays on that Nyx as well. It doesn't matter how low his health is. As long as he's got an LG, he's good to keep the fight going, man. He doesn't care about his HP.
Yeah, and sometimes that's exactly the way you got to be. I mean, there are opportunities that you know you have, but there are opportunities that you might not even know. So sometimes you just got to take the guess. And so far, so good here for Astroboy. He's actually waiting just for a moment, and he's going to be getting some nice response on that from the rocket launcher. And actually, xron comes back into the fight, but he barely takes down Astroboy with the LG, fading away off the platform.
He's got to be careful on this fresh spawn from Astroboy because he might try to aggressively chase him down. xron knows this, so you can see him spamming out with the nail gun down below. Oh, okay. Now he just gives him a free rail, though, as Astroboy makes a mistake, goes up that jump pad, didn't realize his xron was that close, and now he's going to look for the second follow-up here. Oh! Nicely done from xron right there. Astroboy tried to rocket jump out of the room, but xron catches him anyway.
It was so risky to go through that teleporter after eating that rail as Anarchy. I mean, you know your opponent's going to be going to Mega. You cannot aggress it. You just got to, you know, shrug your shoulders and go get some 25s, but that'll tie it back up here 2-2. These guys are keeping it a very close fight here on Blood Covenant. Astroboy off the spawn, taking away Railgun as well as the armor. He wants that rocket launcher. It wasn't a clean dire orb this time around, but there's the spam coming out, and that's immediately going to force xron to use that Ghost Walk somewhat offensively, but it doesn't quite make the frag happen. So if Astroboy can recover here at all, it's going to be a dangerous 30 seconds for xron. Ooh, that rail. That might have closed out the match here pretty early.
Well, Astroboy up on top now. Both players are going to actually whiff their opening rails, but Astroboy gets hit by a follow-up from xron. He's now low. Gets that one bubble pickup, so he's going to be up 50. Ooh, but again, almost gets knocked out here. xron's going to try to chase him down, but he goes right. He gets bounced into the air. The follow-up misses, but oh, there's a better rocket. As Astroboy is going to be able to get that first kill. He's got to quickly move in, get this armor pickup, though. He's in a vulnerable spot in terms of his HP. It's better now, though. Gets the full armor pickup. Health will not be his. xron will take that.
He was definitely making sure that he had, you know, a belt and suspenders attitude in that fight. I'm going to throw the rockets up there. I'm going to throw my dire orb up there. It's going to be close range. I know you're up against the ropes. I know you don't have your power up, so it's certainly worthwhile for him. But this time, xron is saving the Sorlag for Champion 2. Which could indeed be a problem. Astroboy was able to make good use of the dire orb to get the quick frag on Sorlag a while ago, but he's not going to have that opportunity right now, as he's indeed railable or rocketable. I mean, take a choice, but is the choice dropping down onto your opponent's LG? That's always been a favorite of mine, at least to be on the shooting end on.
Well, Astroboy, he's got his opponent on the ropes here now. Ranger be a Ranger to possibly end this. He does try to jump back in, but it only goes right into another rail. He connects it, though, despite him falling back down. Astroboy at 18 HP chooses not to continue that fight. He's going to go back in, get that mega health pickup. He still has no armor, though. He's going to have to go for some small armor here. Yeah, that's why he turns back around, gets that pickup at the very least, tries to go back in for a quick rail. He's getting a little bit low on rail, so he's got to watch out for that one. And obviously these nails that are being pelted against him. Stays alive, dodges that one, tries to jump up. He's missing these rocket jumps, but he's trying to be a little bit more creative with the rocket jumps too, and only ends up getting taken down by xron. Close-up rail shot for him, but finally trade back one of those 2 kills.
xron came around the corner with the railgun, expecting to see him up at at the armor or at the rocket launcher or something. He just kind of panic fired the rail, I think, when astroboy landed in his lap. Worked out well for him. Can't be that repeatable, but that is astroboy's ranger taken off down. So xron across the map back over here. I think both of these guys have been having some trouble with their rocket jumps and wall jumps here, which has created some interesting fight setups for sure. xron taking a little bit of a break here, making sure that he's going to be on top of the bridge. Oh, he looks the other way. He's going to be taking a ton of LG here. He's railable. I'm not sure if astroboy actually has a rail. xron's not going to risk it. He's going to try to get out of there, but there's the aggression on the LG. Can a rocket save him? No. It's going to be astroboy taking the map. GG's called out there as we have the first one taken on down.
Yeah, so astroboy is going to be able to complete that 3-2. Very aggressive as Aussie takes control over the first map in this series. Remember, best of 3s here still in the round of 16, so 1 more is needed for astroboy to be able to take this, eliminating xron and taking him out. It's funny though in the last round there we had xron getting that kill, like you said, the close-up one where you doesn't even expect to happen. He probably gets that kill, just like, oh, all right. Guess that's a kill.
I think it says something because so far Blood Covenant has been that map that will take longer than the other ones.
Yeah, that was lightning speed right there.
Absolutely, which makes me wonder what Burial Chamber, Corrupted Keep is going to be like, what Sarnath might potentially be like. These guys are definitely in it to just go full ham with the rocket launcher and LG.
I am expecting some very quick rounds on Corrupted Keep. The thing is though, is these guys were very rail heavy. You're noticing that they were even at very close ranges, they were wanting to take rail fights. Going over to Corrupted Keep for our second map, it's going to be gone now. So, so what do they switch to now? I believe it's probably going to be LG focused, but we'll have to see.
The angles are really difficult on Corrupted Keep, though, when it comes to the Dire Orb, which, we saw effective use out of both of these players in Blood Covenant. We might see a bit of a champ change up there.
Yeah, I think it's a strong possibility that will happen. Maybe a little bit less of the Ranger, since the Dire Orb's not going to cover as much ground as it does on this map. It's kind of to be seen. It's up to player preference, obviously, but we'll have to see when we get into that selection and if these guys are going to try to change things up at all. Very close match, though. Very intense. Very, the balls to the walls for both these guys here as they try to take it to the very bitter end of things. And we saw some very impressive Ranger play from both players. Just overall, very impressive play. But it looks like we are going into it. Corrupted Keep is our second map. We'll see if these picks vary at all. Pretty much the same so far, but that's only the first picks.
All right, so we got Nyx on either side. We got Astroboy trying to decide if he's going to go for something a little bit tankier to match up against that Sorlag. Not something I would hate to see at all. He's thinking long and hard about it, actually. He's got to go for something here. It's actually Ranger. All right. I'll shut up. What an idiot I am.
Well,
he's the guy
he still has his third slot, too, so he might have been delaying the Ranger pick just to try and think about this a little bit more. If he wanted to, does he want to try and throw a Sorlag in here to counter out xron a little bit? It's going to work better on this map, but where's that pick? Yeah, there it is. There's the Anarchy.
We might see that from xron as well. But either way, this is going to be an interesting one. Again, Sorlag has really been the one to play around here, especially in Corrupted Keep. And, I'm getting the feeling that these guys are having a lot of fun playing this. I mean, somebody should tell them that there's all this money on the line. But either way, they're playing fantastically. And you saw a lot of opportunities where it was like, I could do the nice, sane, comfortable thing, or I could showboat a little bit. And one thing I've always loved about the Australian community, they're always having fun, no matter what they're doing. It's hard to keep them down, and I think Danda King / Astroboy is much in the same boat.
Yeah, I would give xron actually a pretty big advantage, though, considering that Astroboy is a very squishy lineup when you look at it across the board. xron has that Sorlag, and we've seen in the other matches with Cooler and the other guys back on the main stage just how powerful the Sorlag can be. So that's a little bit dangerous going on a Corrupted Keep, because having that excess health is going to be really good, especially with how aggressive both these guys have been. Having that excess health is going to give him so much more room to maneuver on what is otherwise a very, very small map.
One thing I love to see, though, on Corrupted Keep, depending on how the spawns shake down, somebody's going to have easier access to the rocket launcher than the other, and then there's that opportunity to lock the rocket launcher out from the other guy, which doesn't last all that long. It only has a 5-second respawn timer. I'm used to Quake 2 where it's 30 seconds, so you have a very narrow window to make that happen, but a little goes a long way there.
All right, well, we're jumping into it here now, folks. Round 1 has begun. Good luck, have funs in the chat, and we'll see if Astroboy can repeat here. Take control over map number 2, if xron's going to strike back and send this over to a third and final map. Let's take a look here. Astroboy's actually on the ropes right from the start. The LG pushes him to range. 10 HP, he's got nowhere to go. He's trying to return some of this damage with the rocket and barely trying to stay alive. He will have his Dire Orb up in a second. He'll try to escape, but nope. xron quick switches over to the MG and closes it out.
A little bit of one more shot-itis there from Astroboy. I mean, he came back in for that last rocket, and a donk would have gone a long way, but of course, as Sorlag has plenty of extra health there, And we'll be taking control of that armor as well. Lots of LG. Holy crap, this LG out of Astroboy is absolutely brutalizing Xron. That Mega's going to help, but even still, without any armor, Xron might be in a little bit of trouble here. I mean, he's going to have to recover. He's going to be losing track of how Astroboy's moving, what his priorities are. It's going to make it harder to trap him for sure.
Xron actually trying to stay out of this fight for a little bit here too. He doesn't have a lot of armor built up either, just as his base stack. The good news is he's returning that damage really good. You could see him switching over to the MG. He knew he had Astro Boy pretty low. There's sub 25 HP. One more rocket's going to do the trick, and well, to hell with it. Why not make it a full 100 damage rocket?
Absolutely fantastic out of Xron there. I mean, he's got Astro Boy up against Anarchy just about 1 minute in, and I think you're right. This could be a very, very quick one here on Corrupted Keep. We saw quick maps, you know, on Corrupted Keep here between like players like Toxic and Cooler and Rafa and Razy. I mean, this one can turn into an absolute just grind here. But we've got LG coming back out of Astro Boy and holding on with just 45, 35, 25 health as Acid takes him down. But there's that aggression. But oh, that rocket to save the day for him. You could see that he was ready to just push him down there in the boneyard and add to the pile. But it goes up by 2 bodies today.
So, I mean, I talked about it in the pregame there, but you could immediately see the Sorlock helping out Xron so much there, because even with the mistakes he made, it melted down his health a little bit. Still to get like 75 to 80 health that are getting spammed by the LG, and when Astro Boy went down to the Nyx. So bought him that extra time to, you know, stack the health back up a little bit more, take the next fight. And even though he does go down at the end of the round on it, he already had Astro Boy down to his last champion at that point, so it didn't even really matter.
Absolutely. So getting into this next round here, I mean, Xron had such a fantastic start. Getting Rocket Launcher, getting LG, getting Mega, and Astro Boy actually took a long time to get himself out of the armor area. So with 10 seconds left before Mega comes back up, Xron should be able to get a few of the 25s up here and then drop down and be ready for this fight. So it's going to be really difficult for Astro Boy to make something happen unless that Dire Orb comes into play. He actually throws it out a little bit early. He actually misses the grab for the... actually, no, I'm sorry. He did get the grab for the Mega, but he took so much damage that it immediately is whittled away. However, it's just enough to push him over the edge to get him that first frag.
Yeah, Xron a little bit aggressive there. I think he misread the health by just a tad, so Astro Boy was able to recover. Problem is Astro... Okay. Stays in the fight, and Xron tries to jump into it too since he spawns right next to the LG. He knows exactly where Xron's third and final champion's spawning, but Astro Boy has a massive advantage all of a sudden. Within like 10 seconds, he's gone from a 3v3 to a 3v1. Oh, and the port back into steals the Mega health, I do believe. That's brought Xron down very low. Astro Boy thought he went outside, sees that rocket, knows he's back on the inside. That might have been a mistake from Xron to shoot that. Now he can lock him down, try to shut him out. And if he gets this armor, he for sure has a huge advantage. Stuck in the red room where it looks like we're going to see another kill, and a round-ending kill at that. Astro Boy quickly trades it back, and we're at 1-1 again.
That was absolutely brutal. I mean, both of these guys wanting to dive in for that Mega, and it was honestly was risky for both of them. And that could have gone either way. It just came down to the last little bit of shots. But that LG coming into the red room, finding your opponent at the 225s, especially if you have to wait for the 225s, that's never fun. But we've got Astro Boy now spawning up, getting the first grab of that rocket launcher. You can see how those stairs make getting that initial rocket as they're coming into the room a little bit harder, but that acid is going to just melt that Ranger down. So we got Astro Boy down to his Nyx.
He is going to be switching over to that one again, so he'll fall behind right from the start. This is how Xron started things off with the first round as well. See if he can keep it going, or if Astro was going to be able to dictate the pace a little bit better this time and actually trade it back. That was the problem before. It took so long to trade it back that it didn't even matter at the end of the day. He finally got the kill on this Anarchy, but that was when it was down to being his last champion.
All right, so we got Xron now just fully loaded up, ready for this fight with the LG. But again, it's a close one. It's so risky. Xron just barely edging it out there, but Astro Boy's LG is phenomenal, really. I mean, if that were anything less than a full stack, that would have been real trouble for Xron. But there he's caught him out of the teleporter. Astro Boy didn't look both ways before crossing the street, and that'll be a little bit of trouble for him there.
Yeah, so 54-second round there, by the way, just to give you a more precise measurement of how quickly these games are going by. 2-1 already for Xron here. Xron just dominates it. I mean, in those LG fights, Xron knows as long as he has that Sorlock, he can just keep sticking in the fights and just spam LG all day. Because he's almost, unless he doesn't have power control, he's almost always going to have more health than Astro Boy has.
And that's a big part of playing Corrupted Keep. You always have to make sure that no matter which area of the map you're in, you have an out, you have a... Oh, where'd that LG go? Bye. It's out of here.
He just launched him into space.
Just like that Ranger. So Astro Boy's going to be down a champ already, just about 15 seconds in. But here, you need to make sure that even if you don't know where your opponent's at, you need to make sure that you've got an exit handy. You just cannot overcommit to any of these atriums.
But LG damage being done over there. Just Xron bringing him down, not too much though, only knocks at about 25 of his HP. The rockets though aren't hitting as well onto the Nyx there, but it's low enough to where, actually no, Astro Boy controls that situation. Knocks out Xron. Trades back that kill. Astroboy's got to be a little bit careful, though, even on the fresh spawn. He's ready to dive back in. Quick pop of the stealth from xron, maybe, or excuse me, quick pop of the stealth coming out here from xron. Maybe a little bit too early.
Yeah, when you're jumping over your opponent and they whip out that LG, you don't want to risk the just getting pinned against the ceiling with that. That could be so risky. Didn't look like Astroboy was exactly tracking just well enough to make that happen, but xron rather, certainly has the respect to back it up there. Astroboy trying to wrap back around for the last little play on the LG, and again, it's just so strong. He's just absolutely melting him. Even when he's rocketable here, he's feeling confident that he's able to get in front of his opponent and shut him down before they even realize he's there.
Yeah, Astroboy stuck down below. He's waiting for this Mega Hell spawn to come back in, sees the port. He takes it too, so he reads into this one. He's going to try to chase down xron, see if he can get it, and oh, so close. 2 HP left on xron at the end of that fight. Just quickly going to jump out into the boneyard here. Get the double 25 pickup, doesn't matter though. Astroboy got a quick spawn by the Rockets and was able to trade that kill back again. Down to round 5, 2-2.
These guys are just going full rough and tumble on each other. You know, there's I said the word to respect a few times here, and I think they do, but they're absolutely not afraid to just toss in with this LG and these rockets and make a frag happen. I mean, that frag outside the red room that xron took, that didn't really need to happen. He could have backed out of there at any point, but like you said, 2 HP, he had to think that, all right, I've got this. I can make the one last tick. I guess it could have been a rounding error for him.
Now Astroboy knows that the Sorlag is hiding out over there in the red room and the sun room somewhere. He's gonna figure out where he pushes out from. There we go, catches it, the spit comes back in, and that damage is gonna kill him, so he needs to try and return as much damage as possible. Yeah, xron knew he had that kill in the bag.
He was so close to getting that 25 pickup, and it was just a hair's breadth away from him at that point. So we are looking at Astroboy 3 frags away from just moving forward, making this a clean one, and going up in the bracket here. But xron is making this a very difficult fight, taking off his Ranger already. And again, this LG is just absolutely godlike. There's the Ghost Walk, but is it going to be offensively or defensively used from Astroboy? Well, a little bit of both. A nice little bit of LG, but there's the spit to make it happen. Once again, that spit ends up turning into a tombstone for Astroboy.
And xron's gonna have to fall away from this here now. He's a little bit lower. This may finally be where Astroboy can get the trade, but he's leaving him so much room, as Astroboy himself is still trying to establish his kit. So he is going to leave him with all that excess armor inside of this room. He might actually be able to beat him here. He's going to test his luck, but nope, still doesn't happen. And ultimately, it is going to be xron that takes control over map number 2 and now ties the series up at 1-1.
Fantastic stuff out of xron there. I mean, again, just I don't know how else to say, a rough and tumble fight. It was really messy.
I mean, that was probably, I think that was the fastest map we've casted so far in this entire tournament.
Absolutely, and after some of the matches we've seen, it's a little bit of a relief. There's some catharsis going on between these two guys, I think. They just want to dish it out with their LG and just see how it goes, but we are going to be going to a tiebreaker.
They're basically saying to each other, yeah, you know that whole aspect of how we're supposed to, like, you know, scope each other out and do this really big mind game thing? Now screw that, let's just jump at each other and fight. It's basically how this series has been going so far.
And some days, you know, I like a good cerebral game of Quake, but some days that's exactly what you need.
just a good old death match, essentially.
So you said that was Ruins of Sarnath for the 3rd place, right?
I believe so, correct, yeah. I think it's Ruins that we're going to for the 3rd map. So that might actually change it up a little bit because, it's, in my opinion, it's very hard to continuously get aggressive on that map, simply because there's so many cutoff points, there's so many choke points, so many portals as well that you have to deal with, that it's very easy that if you try to chase someone down and end their life, that's going to turn around and end badly for you very quickly if you end up, you know, going through a portal and not expect someone to time a rocket perfectly or something like that.
Yeah, it's tough if you're playing from the bottom of that map because when your opponent starts to get mega control, that turns into control of that top corridor where they have easy access to look into either the atriums. They can punish jump pads, they can punish teleporters, they can punish getting a grab for armor, and they're going to be able to hear you getting the lower armor grab as well and punish you leaving that too. So it ends up being a really strong positional play on Sarnath. So we're going to have to see how these guys kind of play out with the item control, which will then turn into area control.
Yeah, I think the guys that met, or the first player to be able to control both the power-ups is probably going to be the one that has the ability to go back to that aggressive playstyle and push on to the other one. Prior to that, though, things are going to have to slow down a little bit for the reasons I was just explaining. Like, they're not really going to be able to push onto each other too heavily. But we're back into champion selection here now, so let's take a look and see if there's going to be any change-ups. Looks pretty straightforward so far. Copy and paste from the last 2 maps. Astroboy, same exact selections, and I'm pretty sure xron's going to stick with the same thing.
A lot of confidence here. Well, we're going to have to see if xron is wanting to be a little bit more tactical. He's bringing his Ranger out as well. And of course, here on Ruins of Sarnath, it's deceptively serene. You've got that moss, you've got that rain. It seems so nice and pleasant, but this could be another fast and brutal match out of these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. With the way that the first 2 maps have been played out, I say it's going to play slowly, but slowly in comparison to the previous 2 maps, not slowly in comparison to the other matches that I'm sure you've seen throughout the course of today so far.
Absolutely, but we've seen a lot of situations where these guys are like, all right, I've got him on the ropes with the LG. I'm just going to push forward. And even if they have the chance to duck into cover, maybe that doesn't happen. I mean, xron, 2 HP, that was rough.
I mean, astroboy specifically, a couple very questionable fights, remember that last match? Just constantly trying to take like open 1v1 LG battles where it's basically like, all right, who has the better tracing and who's going to run out of health first, essentially, in those fights is what it comes down to. But for astroboy, it's almost always going to be him that runs out of health first because he was going up against the Sorlag. He has to realize that he really cannot take that open battle versus the Sorlag. He has to get a little bit more creative, look for a flank opportunity or something like that, or try to get you good 30 to 40 damage off before he can go into that kind of fight.
And it's one of the great things about the Australian community is that they LAN with each other so often that they really do develop their own style. And when you bring it to a LAN like this, a worldwide event like this, you see all sorts of surprises. So we've got astroboy starting out here with Nyx versus xron's Sorlag.
All right, and we are jumping into it here now. Winner of this one moves on into the round of 8. Loser goes home. They are in the money at this point, but there's plenty more to be claimed the deeper you can get into this tournament. astroboy, the last hope for Aussieland. We'll see if he can keep it going strong for the home country.
All right, so astroboy being really quiet, and already this is looking a little bit different than the last few matches here. astroboy just trying to play a little bit more sneaky. He's got Mega, and he's looking for that rail with the 90 damage on xron. He's going to get it, actually. He's not going to be able to prevent the grab for the Mega, so that rail doesn't really do any, actual damage, but emotionally and mentally, I think the first shot's definitely been fired.
Going to be able to get that nice damage off. Thing is, though, xron gets that Mega health pick up a few seconds later, so it makes that rail shot pretty much inept right from the start. astroboy was hoping to fly him through the gate here. I think xron's staying right back where the small armor pickup is, but wrapping around. He just misses the opportunity, sees him jump back up, but misses the rocket, and that's going to be the emergency pop of the stealth right from the bat. Knows he has the low ground in that situation, knows he really can't take that fight there, but jumps into the fight anyway, right into the spit too, it stands right inside of it. Easy kill for xron to start off this battle.
I could see his eyes getting wide as that Sorlag was dropping onto him, looking for the tracking for that air rocket, but by the time xron landed, it was too late, and he was already knee-deep in slime. No good for him there, as xron is once again going to be able to leverage his fantastic LG aim to turn it into another frag against astroboy. astroboy is not looking the best here on Sarnath here, at least for the first round, but again, as things go on, I'm sure they'll slow down as they realize, wait, this is actually the final map between us.
And the same issue right there too on that second life from astroboy. Just tries to take an open rough fight against xron while he's on the Sorlag there, and while he was a pretty much full house. Now you can forgive him for that one because he did get the full armor pickup right before taking that fight, so you could reasonably assume that he might have been able to win that since he had the armor, but it came down too close, and the rockets that he were throwing out were way too messy. xron already getting that third and final kill though, and secures round 1 pretty quickly.
And once again, I think astroboy was just a couple feet off from being able to duck behind a corner and get out of the line of fire. It could have gone either way for him, but again, these little changes in distancing can change everything. But here we go, we got xron here spawning back up as Sorlag. We've actually got astroboy going for Ranger up top, which I actually rather appreciate. I mean, we do have the opportunity for a Dire Orb, so yeah, feel free to stack up all you want, xron. You do need to watch out for that Ranger's ability.
All right, and xron now pushing forward. He's going to be able to start things off with a pretty good kit to roll with here. I don't think astroboy probably has LG and rails at this point, but xron's already been able to pick up all 3, where I believe astroboy is still looking for, at the very least, the rocket pickups. May need the other one here too. No, he actually does have all 3, excuse me. So going back into the fight. This is a good lock on here. Now he can take this fight. This is when he can take that open fight, is when he locks him down there, restricts his movement, and is going to be able to finally secure that first kill. He tried to take this battle so many times, and finally he locks it in. However, the fresh spawn from xron, he's going to move back in here, and he might be able to quickly trade this. He's got astroboy down at about 45 HP. astroboy trying to fall back and disengage, but xron's actually going to be okay with that, as xron got brought down pretty low there too.
This is the first time in about a map and a half we've seen either of these players back out of a fight. But astroboy is going to be getting out of there. We've got 5 seconds before armor comes back up. And he's going to be throwing off a little bit of spam. That's going to tell xron that, yeah, I'm down here. But look at this. I love that astroboy also getting off the pad, making sure he doesn't get telefragged by that Nyx, realizing who he's playing up against, but also using his Dire Orb to get control of that Mega. Really nicely done. There's the rail, and
nice
beautifully timed rocket there, just as xron is coming out of the Ghost Walk, and that's really going to put her in a bad spot. But she's been spotted, and xron is taking on down only Ranger now, and astroboy could turn this around very quickly and make it 1-1.
astroboy's in control right here on this round too. xron just can't get anything going. After astroboy took down that Sorlag, it seems like xron's a little bit lost here. Just aced him as far as the Nyx spawn was concerned, and now over to the Soldier for the Ranger, for the mirror matchup, and we'll see how well this goes for him. Doesn't take the fort, does throw astroboy off for a little bit, doesn't matter. He's got him solo anyway. He's going to be able to move in, and another very quick round, another 3-0 too. But this time it's astroboy that takes the cake.
Great redemption from that last round. We're going to have to see if he can push it on forward. I mean, he was able to create a few situations there. I mean, one trap with a rocket launcher when you're up in that nice little sunlit alcove is really nice, but actually he's going to be spawning down here by armor. That's going to give him cause for concern about dropping in for the rail. He's actually going for Mega and Rocket Launcher first. He doesn't want to risk a trap from that sword-like spit by dropping down to the bottom of the map, but he's got to watch where he's going as he's running around. It's going to be that spit and LG combo that's absolutely deadly, as we've seen many times today.
Well, xron now is going to find himself jumping back over here towards armor. Over to the other side of this one. He does do great damage to astroboy there, so brings him down pretty low to right around 25 HP. And he's going to jump over.
All right, don't want to stick around in that fight, but there's the LG immediately. I mean, Zorlike is an LG bagged up, but xron's LG is just so on point.
He was locked into that duel. There was no escaping that one.
And there's no escaping this either. I mean, he can use that speed, he can use the teleporter, but the chase is real from xron. He's also got a little bit of that air control as well. Not quite the speed from Anarchy, but xron's just going for the full plus forward here and actually catching Astroboy trying to get down the stairs. The stairs are going to turn into a death trap for him there.
This little high-speed rail shot. You gotta love with these fast rounds, those comical situations can happen because there's a lot less thinking going on and a lot more fragging, essentially. So astroboy jumps down, is like, oh crap, he's down here, and then he has to pop off the stealth really quickly and try to run away, but it's far too late. There's only one way you're going there, and it's pretty easy for xron to chase you, especially with how long it takes to get up that jump pad. That pretty much is the whole stealth duration right there.
The beautiful thing about Quake Champions is that if your opponent wants to be aggressive and you don't want to be aggressive, you have so many tools available to kind of control the pacing, or at least try to slow things down a little bit, but neither of these players have been attempting to do that. They're both more than happy to go head-to-head, just like this with the Dire Orb. Tried to go for the hit with the telefrag itself, didn't quite go Astroboy's way. He's actually kind of on alert here. He's just got 2 champions left alive in this round to keep him not only in the map, but in the running for any more money.
xron having a great advantage already against Astroboy's second champion spawn. He's got him down over onto the Nyx, chasing him back to the other side of the eye here too. Has him pretty low, and there we go. Another quick rail shot coming out from xron. Secures him one of the last kills he needs to push into the round of 8, and a follow-up rail right on the fresh spawn from astroboy. Gets a couple bubble pickups, but xron's on the chase now. He's not going to give this up. He wants to take it to the very end. The good news is astroboy's on the Anarchy, so he'll have a much easier time escaping, but Anarchy's taking this fighter. Excuse me, astroboy's taking this fight.
Yeah, he kind of has to. I mean, he has to create enough distance, enough cause for xron to get off his back, but with here's the spit. Might not have the time, the distance, or the health, and that means that Astroboy will be knocked out of the running. xron is moving forward, ladies and gentlemen, in the Quake World Championships.
So the hope for Ukraine stays alive, as I believe he's the only Ukrainian in the tournament at the moment, if I remember the countries correctly, but the last player in the tournament for Australia. Even though 4 out of 8 of the BYOC players were Australian, all of them got knocked out. He was the only one to make it through, and he actually qualified through the NA Regionals again, as we mentioned earlier, but now he's been knocked out here. Congratulations to him, of course, for making it all the way here and to the round of 16 as well, making it out of his groups, but he'll be dropping out here in the round of 16, and xron will be moving on to the next stage of the tournament.
And you mentioned how many Australians were here qualifying in the BYOC. I'm sure they're all going to be playing in all the BYOC tournaments. They're going to be, making the most of their time here at QuakeCon, and what a great opportunity to be able to play people from all around the world at such a low ping, especially when you're from Australia. You appreciate things like that.
Yes, their internet is oftentimes
it's just a matter of distance. Yeah.
Well, guys, it looks like that's going to close things out here on the alternate stream. The rest of the matches are going to be shown over on the main stream. So, oh, excuse me, no, we do have one more match. That's my bad. Apologies, folks. We'll be coming back with that one in just a little bit, though, so stick with us. We'll be returning in just a few with more action right here from the alternate stream at the Quake World Championships.